That game was one of the worst performances I've ever seen TFC put up. That was an egg. It was a laid egg. The team's been playing like that and been laying eggs since mid-October. It's been happening for a while now. They've been playing poorly for a while now. Honestly, I was expecting them, I wanted them to come out in the playoffs with renewed energy, 2-week break, all that, and just come out and be the TFC we know, healthier, ready to go. And they came out and they were the same that they had been for a couple weeks now, for almost a month now, honestly. After the Supporter Shield controversy, and then that got resolved, but after that moment when the Supporter Shield controversy was resolved, that game against Philadelphia, yes, there was injuries and all that, but as a whole, this team just looked to lose their momentum, and they lost their edge, and they just slowly, and it had got worse and worse with each game almost, they just got tired, and they seemed to give up and lose hope. And it all accumulated in this final match. This game, from everyone on TFC, was terrible. Like, I can't see a positive in this game. Everyone just looked slow. No one brought their A game. No one even looked like they were giving 100%. There was just so much laziness, so much lazy playing. 7 minutes left, and you're down a goal, and you have the ball in your own half, and you have 7 of you walking up the field, just like as slow as possible going up. Just, there's no urgency. There was never any urgency at any point. The only second of urgency they had was in the 120th minute when they had one cross come in, and that was the only time in the entire game where it really looked like anyone on this team cared. It took 120 minutes for us to get 30 seconds of urgency out of this team, and besides that, the rest of the game was just slow, lazy, walking, a lot of guys just wandering and standing and just waiting for other people to make moves, and it was just nothing was happening. Nashville not scoring before 90 minutes was done was just some miracle. I mean, Nashville did score 3 times before they actually got a goal, and it was all called off for offside, but everything just looked bad. And the problem started right off at Vanny's team selection. Larea on the left D and Aro on right D. Yes, Aro is a natural right D, but Aro interchangeably I've seen is just about fine. The drop-off from Aro on right D to Aro on left D is not that big. The drop-off of Larea from right D to Larea on left D is humongous. Larea at right D is 1,000,000 times better than Aro, 1,000,000 times more influential than Aro in that position. Larea at left, they've been trying it all season, and it's just never done anything. It's never gone anywhere. So I don't know why in a playoff game you'd go and you'd do the thing that hasn't worked ever. Larea should have been on the right side right off the bat, right off. One bad idea. Second bad idea, Jozy Altidore. Jozy Altidore has not been good since he was injured last year prior to the playoff run. It's been over a year, and in that time he scored 1 goal in MLS Cup. He scored 2 goals and now 14 appearances this year. If you're counting, that's the same amount of goals that Patrick Mullins had, and this is from the second highest paid player in MLS. And the guy looks like he has early onset arthritis or something. He looks like he's in pain every time he runs, and he has all season. He constantly is jogging down defensively or jogging into the wrong position, out of position, and then he just kind of walks back. And he just, like, absolutely zero urgency at any time. No bursts of speed, no bursts of anything, no sprinting whatsoever. He's obviously not physically capable. He's just such a non-factor on the game at this point. He puts himself out of position and then doesn't have the speed or the urgency or the physical capabilities to get back into position. And yet we started him over Ayo Akinola, who's been fantastic all year, and then didn't sub him off until the 81st minute. And it's gotten so bad that when we subbed on Patrick Mullins for Jozy Altidore, Patrick Mullins, who I've notably on several occasions said is one of the worst players in MLS. I don't even know how he's a professional soccer player. He's that bad. He's not Terrence Boyd bad. But with Terrence Boyd, at least we recognized that he was bad and got rid of him after 7 or 8 games. Mullins, we've somehow kept for a season and a half and keep throwing him out because we got no one else on striker. But we put Patrick Mullins in the 81st minute for Altidore, and I was just like, useless player for useless player. We need another striker. The core is old and we need to replace them. Michael Bradley is still useful for TFC, especially as a personality in the room, but he's not going to play 90 minutes all game, every game like he was in 2016, 2017. He's not that anymore. He's not a game breaker. He's nothing special anymore. Omar Gonzalez is not anything special either on the back end. He's just a big, tall pylon who can jump really high. He's useful at defending set pieces, but has anyone run at him in any situation and it's just game over. He can't do anything. He can't catch anyone. Maro's always hurt. He barely even played this season. So many guys that were key pieces for the 2017 run or even for last year's run just are old and slow. And anytime they go up against any team that has any speed, any urgency, they crumble. This season was definitely the hardest TFC's ever had, playing in Hartford, COVID, back and forth over the border, restrictions here, restrictions there, MLS is back tournament, bunch of hard stuff, condensed schedule especially, but they were so good in September. And then it all just crumbled. And that just was their age showing, and it just, everything fell apart. The entire core mostly fell apart. And when the injuries all started hitting and when players started getting slow, the lack of depth really showed. And I know you can say, oh, it's MLS, everyone has lack of depth. Yeah, but we're spending TAM money on Erickson Gallardo to sit there and have Greg Vanney decide he's completely useless because, he never showed anything special. And then again, Michael Bradley's still useful. He's not $1.5 million in TAM money useful, I don't think, though. So the schedule and the difficulty of the season just exposed the flaws that TFC had and that we all knew they had. And I think in the end, not playing in Toronto, having to go back to Hartford, all of that just caught up to them because you saw the passion in this game was just gone. And I think playing outside of your home city, having home field advantage but not playing at home in front of no fans, they're just, the push to win, the backdrop to win, the fans driving you to win wasn't there. Being in your home city wasn't there. So the passion disappeared. And once that was compiled with the injuries and just the team being older and slower, it all just combined into what was going to be a terrible playoff game for TFC. However, obviously pieces are there. Pozuelo, fantastic, although the last 6 games of the season even he was looking off. Piatti, good. Not a lights out designated player, but he's solid if he can stay healthy. Ayo Akinola, absolutely fantastic young striker. He's going to be a huge part of this team next year. Lorea's great. Delgado and Osorio, both fantastic. Mavinga, one of the best center backs in the league. Aro's solid. Westberg and Bono are a fantastic goalkeeper tandem. The pieces are there. Ralph Priso, oh man, he's what we thought Liam Fraser was going to be. 18 years old, looked great whenever he played. He is the real deal. He's going to be a big part for this team going forward. The pieces for TFC are there. They do have some very good pieces. They just need to do a bit of retooling in other areas. Josie Altidore has to go. $7 million for 2 goals in 14 games. For a guy who it's painful to watch play because he just looks like he's uncomfortable and he looks like he's in pain whenever he's on the pitch. It's not good. Altidore needs to go and we need to replace him with a new designated player striker or even just let Akinola and Achara run, get rid of Mullins and get another third striker in there, and honestly, just Akinola and Achara with a different third striker, a better third striker than Patrick Mullins, a Tosaint Ricketts type, that could work. And then you have a designated player spot to fill up somewhere else. I've always said, I want to see someone try the designated player center back because it could be a very good play. We need another winger, but then again, that could be Nelson. Jaden Nelson was given some shocks this year left wing. He's looking good. Nelson could be that winger there. Schaffelberg, I think we should loan out to Halifax next season or to some other CPL team, because I feel like he needs a year off of the CPL being, honestly, he would probably tear up the CPL. But we do need another winger. Nelson is going to be there eventually. I don't think he's going to be full-time left wing next season. He's not ready for it. So bring in a TAM guy to fill out that spot. Get rid of Gallardo. Use that TAM money to buy a actual serviceable left winger in MLS. And then another left back. Justin Morrow, too injured. He's getting old. It didn't look good when he wasn't injured. Need another left back. Larea and Aro are both great, but they're both right backs. Need another left back. Making Gallagher a loan to buy is a very good option if we do end up buying him. But I don't think Vanny's shown enough trust to start him. I don't think he's going to be a starting left back next season. And the biggest thing is the center back group needs to be completely reworked. The only one out of the center backs who I keep is Chris Mavinga. Now, thankfully, Rocco Romeo and Julian Dunn are both very promising young players. Dunn spending the year on loan with Valor in the CPL, looking very good for them. Rocco Romeo on loan in, I believe, one of the Norwegian leagues. You can get rid of Zavaleta and Simon and probably run with those two as your third and fourth center backs. Although, let's be honest, Nephew is eternal and will never leave. So just because of the Nephew connections, I'm assuming Zavaleta is going to stay. Have Zavaleta as your third, fourth center back. Have Dunn or Romeo, one of them, stay as the third, fourth, loan one of them out. And you do 100% need a new starting center back beside Chris Mavinga. Omar Gonzalez just ain't it. You need a guy who's a bit faster, a guy who's a bit more agile. Omar Gonzalez gets walked around way too much, loses way too many foot races. He's just not good in that role. Need a faster guy there, and that would shore your defense up very nicely, especially next to Chris Mavinga, who is one of the top 5 center backs in MLS, and honestly, possibly one of the most underrated players in Major League Soccer. But yeah, really, just those 4 positions need a bit of a change, because besides that, the pieces are there. This TFC team does have some very good, very high-end talent. A full rebuild is not in order, but they just need a bit more passion. They need to get a little bit younger, they need to get a little bit quicker, and then they're ready and set to go. But yeah, this season, this game, it just wasn't there for TFC. It was just slow. Give them BMO Field, give them fans. I can see it being different next year. But there are some very, very glaring flaws with this team that need to be addressed. And until those happen, this team isn't a contender for MLS Cup anytime soon, especially as much as I love him, and as good as he's been for Toronto, I don't see it happening with Josie Altidore taking up a DP spot unless he has a major physical resurgence in the offseason, unless he commits the entire offseason to getting properly healthy, to getting fully fit, like proper 2017 Josie Altidore fit. But unless he goes back to that, especially at the salary that he's currently getting, TFC is going to have to try to make a move there, because the Josie Altidore that we got this season was a huge disappointment. And you may say I'm being overcritical of him, but it's MLS. You're allowed 3 designated player spots. It's either be amazing or get out, because that's the way the league works. It's incredibly harsh for DPs if they start failing to perform, but that's the way the rule works, and with the way some teams are spending their DP slots, you need all 3 to be good. The fact that last year TFC got to MLS Cup final without Josie Altidore in the lineup the entire time, and with Michael Bradley taking up one of our designated player spots, it was honestly a miracle. Like, looking at that team on paper, you're kind of like, how did that happen? And honestly, right now, I just don't like the way this team is filling up their 3 designated player spots. I feel like Pozuelo was a good pickup, and Piatti's not the best designated player in the world, and Josie Altidore is just always hurt, and when he's not hurt, he's not fit. So something has to change in that regard at the very minimum for this team. So there you have it. That's the end of TFC's 2020 season. It's sad that it's ending this early, but sometimes this just happens. So, as always, if you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link is down below in the description, and I will see you next time.